So today I will be showing you how to shade a sphere. Now, we're going to start with a 2D object, which is just a plain circle, and we're going to make it 3D. One of the only ways to make things 3D is by shading. The other one is perspective, of course, but that's another lesson. Now, the one thing we got to do first of all is establish our light source. So we'll say our light source is coming from here. Okay. Now, so we'll nominate this as the bottom and this as the top. So the key is to start with black, and you're going to go into dark gray, medium gray, light gray, up to white as your highlight. Okay, so first of all, step one is to create black, and we're going to do it at the base on the bottom. Okay, so we just make it like this, just a sharp line, not too thick, not too wide, just something like that. Now, okay, you use a tip to, the tip was used to make the line, make the dark part. Now, I'm going to use the side of my pencil to make the rest of it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pencil right between the black and the white on its side. Some of the tip will still be in there, but mostly it'll be the side of the pencil. Okay, and then here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing circles. Circles or ovals, over and over and over. Okay, so here's where I start, and here I go. Now, I can stay on the line. I don't want to move any further than this. Now, do you see all that fuzziness that's coming out? All the fuzziness that's coming out is what you want. You don't want to see any more of the line, the sharp line. You just want to see the fuzziness. So now I'm going into the dark grays. I'm pulling those out from the black, and it's slowly getting blended in because the line is slowly disappearing. Now, I keep making circles or ovals in this kind of motion. Just keep going. You can see the fuzziness coming out. Okay, don't worry about any lines getting outside of the sphere or the circle, because we can clean up that afterward. Now, kind of just keep moving in the same direction. You don't want to move too forward, too much, ahead, because you don't want this to be all gray. You want the line to not exist. So you're going to keep just making circles or ovals to control your progression. Okay, little by little, you can see how the grays are really coming out now. The medium grays are really starting to come out. Okay, and sometimes you got to go back into the dark areas to make sure that you got rid of all the lines. So you got to go back in there. And the graphite is a little glary, so you can you got to kind of look through that glare and move your eyes around to make sure you got every little spot. Okay, now you keep moving it forward. As you can see, we're making some progress, getting closer and closer to the highlighted area. Okay, you can see I'm not leaving any kind of lines in there. If I am, I'm going to go back and check on it. Now, I want to turn it around a little bit. I want to get the top part. Okay, same thing. Now, sometimes it's hard to start with the lighter areas, so you want to start with the dark areas maybe, because you have more pressure, and then it'll ease off. Less pressure, less pressure. And now let's do the top part real quick, just to get some coverage of that area. And then we will get back to where we were over here. Okay, making sure that all the lines are blended out. A little bit. Now remember, the highlight should be closest to the light source, so we're going to be doing a little highlight on that side. Now you just go ahead and keep getting lighter and lighter pressure. You can see my light tones are coming out, and you're going to go all the way to paper. Okay, and just let it go to paper. Go back into the dark areas, make sure all those lines are nice and blended out. Little circles, controlling it, making sure that all lines are blended out. darker values into the lighter values. And as they're juxtaposed next to each other, they should start forming the three-dimensional form that we are desiring from this 2D shape that we started with. Now, let's say that I went a little too dark, you know, I got a little overzealous here, and I just started to keep shading and shading and shading. And let's say that I go over my highlight, I'm like, oh man, my highlight's disappeared. So now I gotta pop out a highlight, and sometimes it's more advantageous. You can just pull out like something like a kneaded eraser, stretch it apart, get a nice clean spot, and just bounce your eraser a little bit. It blends in the colors perfectly. They're not going to make any too much sharp edges, and you got your highlight back. Okay, and that's the trick right there. Now we still got to do our cast shadow, and the cast shadow is not too much different than the actual shading. Okay, the darkest part is going to be right underneath. Okay, right underneath, and then it's just going to get lighter and lighter after that. Okay, now you want to do a little circle still, and this is it. This is how it should start looking. Okay, so it lightens up as it gets out here a little bit more. Okay, now depending on the light sources, the shadow could be larger or narrower, and depending on what you want. And that's it. Our next lesson, we will be looking on how to shade a cylinder, which is very similar. Okay? Thank you.